Stunningly, it's already the midway point of the college football season, and the UConn Huskies are back on the road to Orlando this week to play UCF. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Blitz. I'm Joe D'Ambrosio, the play-by-play voice of the Huskies on the UConn IMG Sports Network. And as always, we kick it off with the head coach, Bob Diaco. One of the great expressions for sportscasters was the game was not as close as the final score would indicate. When people woke up Saturday morning, if they didn't stay with us or TV all night, they might have seen the score, and they don't understand just how close that game was.
Yeah, you're exactly right. The score is definitely not even remotely close of a depiction of how the game was. The effort of the team, the execution of the team. There were so many things that were done well, and it's still that just small moment there at the very end. And against a good to great team, it's hard to win when you have that moment.
And as you said on the postgame show, it was a 2-minute stretch. It started with the pick, went to the inability to recover the onside kick, the unfortunate decision by Andrew in a moment of joy, just to kind of playfully punt the football. It was not done maliciously.
No.
And then the touchdown. It was 2 minutes.
Yeah, it was, and we all know that. And it was a 10-10 game or 13-10 game at that point, and the interception was a crusher,
right? An
absolute crusher.
There was so much to like in the 58 minutes, Bob. What did you like best about what your team did?
I thought that the execution of the three phases and how they worked together was done nicely. The defensive plan to keep the points down was how the plan was built.
Right.
We've seen teams against them give up less yardage, but a lot more points.
Right.
So that was working for the lion's share of things, and the offense was executing their plan that they had put in place. There was a lot of areas to be pleased with.
You go down to Orlando this week to play UCF, a winless team, but a team with a terrific coach in George O'Leary, and obviously playing back at home, disappointed with their conference opener. While you guys will go down obviously hungry for a win, you understand just how hungry the Knights are going to be.
Oh, of course. It's not. I mean, they're a great program. They got great players. They've had the top recruiting class over and over and over again. They got great coaches, great infrastructure. We know what we're going to get from them. The players that have been out, I'm sure won't be. I'm expecting and anticipating every single player in all three phases to be available and fired up and ready to go. And at the end of the day, all that other stuff, all the commentary, it only lasts for 2 minutes.
Right, exactly.
As the game starts,
once you go play, it's time to play.
As the game starts, the better players, the more prepared players are going to win their individual matchups, and you put that together enough times, and your unit plays well, and you got a chance to win the game.
All right. Well, let's hope that happens for the Huskies this week. Coach, thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Huskies head coach Bob Diaco. And this week, our player profile, we're delighted to welcome the redshirt senior defensive end from beautiful Wethersfield, Connecticut, Kenton Adeyemi. Welcome.
Welcome. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks, Kenton. Good to be with you. Now, the defensive line has been really solid this year. In your opinion, what are the biggest improvements that you fellas have made?
I just feel like we had one full year in the system to learn how exactly they wanted us to four technique and basically go from a 4-down system to a 3-down system. And I feel like that's helped us tremendously. A lot of us have worked on our technique, having, as I said before, a whole year to kind of hone our skills in that area. And I feel like it's helped us just become better off all around defensive linemen.
A quick explanation of the four technique, if you will.
Basically, a regular defensive lineman or a 4-3 traditional defense, you're kind of on the edge of your opponent. So it's like a 5 technique or a 3 technique where you're on the right edge or the left edge of the offensive lineman, whereas a 4 technique or a 0 technique, you're head up and it's mano-a-mano versus the guy. It's kind of
perfect. That's great. You could do analysis on TV when you get done with this. Now, you grew up in Connecticut, in Wethersfield. You played at Kingswood, Oxford. Talk about the impact of Connecticut high school players on this program.
I think it's been great so far, honestly. I know on defense we have me and Graham Stewart especially, who I know we're both seniors right now from Connecticut, and just basically being from Connecticut and being able to play for your hometown and having that impact is awesome.
Time for a popular segment here we do with all the players. It's called 3 and Out. We have heard our scouts, we have scouts everywhere, we've heard you're a gamer. Are you an Xbox or a PS4?
I'd have to say I'm an Xbox guy.
All right. What's your favorite game?
Right now, and honestly, I think this is my favorite game last year too. It's still Destiny. It's a great game. It's never ending. They're constantly adding stuff to it, so that's probably still my favorite game.
Are you good at it?
I'd say I'm pretty good, yeah.
Okay. All right. You like cartoons?
I do.
I understand. These scouts get everything, honestly. Favorite cartoon?
I'd have to go with Naruto. It's an anime cartoon. Naruto, it's a Japanese anime cartoon. I've been watching it for years now, and I'd have to say it's still my favorite cartoon.
It's a long way from Heckle and Jekyll with my youth. Who's your favorite music artist?
I still have to say The Weeknd. He came out with an album recently that I really enjoy, and I pretty much enjoy relaxing and listening to his music.
You a good singer, dancer? What's your strength?
I used to sing, but not so much anymore. I've kind
Dance?
of lost my talent. If it's the right song, I like to dance, yeah.
All right. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll remember that. Which of your teammates gives you the best opposition as a gamer?
As a gamer, as a proud gamer, I'd have to say no one.
Really?
Really.
No competition? Doesn't that get, just like the UConn women's basketball team, you must get bored with that.
I think I'm the best gamer on the team.
All right, okay. Here's a tougher question for you. Which of these guys would get lost in a corn maze and we'd never see again?
I'd have to go with Lorenzo Fantacazzi on that one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really?
yeah,
He couldn't just bust down the walls?
I think that'd be his only option, honestly.
And finally, here's our last question for you. Which defensive lineman is most likely to follow The Rock into being a Hollywood superstar?
You know what? I'd have to say Mike Myers.
Really?
Yeah, Mike Myers.
As opposed to the real Mike Myers, the actor. This is Mike Myers, the football player.
Mike Myers, football player. He's already got the name, and if you talk to him, he's got a charismatic personality, and I think he'd be a great actor.
It's number 95, the pride of Wethersfield, Kenton Adeyemi. Thanks, Kay.
Thank you.
This week, the Huskies are on the road again, heading down to Florida. So we're heading down to campus in this week's edition of Know Your Foe. Who is UConn football playing this week?
UCF.
UCF.
We're playing UCF.
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 Where is UCF located?
Central Florida.
Can you get a little more specific than that, perhaps?
Orlando.
Orlando, Florida.
Orlando, Florida.
That's Orlando.
What is UCF's mascot?
They're the Knights.
The Knight. The Knights.
The Knights? I want to say the Knights.
Who is the first American Athletic Conference opponent to defeat UCF? It happened last season.
UConn?
Is it UConn? That would have to be UConn, my man.
UConn.
UConn.
Which former UCF quarterback was picked in the first round of the 2014 NFL Draft?
Blake Bortles.
Oh, he knows it. Yes.
Blake Bortles.
Blake Bortles, I believe.
Blake Bortles. Bortles.
What is the name of the rivalry between UConn and UCF?
The ConFLiCT.
Is it the ConFLiCT?
Is that the conflict rivalry? Conflict.
That would be the ConFLiCT.
UConn football is taking on UCF down in Orlando this Saturday. Who's going to win?
UConn.
UConn? UConn.
UConn. UConn, baby.
And finally, the view from the press box. And what an honor it is to bring in somebody who I watched as a kid growing up play high school football. I was the kid watching him play high school football. No, that's not the truth. Casey Cochran, you all know, was a UConn quarterback, had to give up the game after the first game of the season last year. And now he's turned to the honest side of the football, part of our UConn IMG Radio Network broadcast team with Bob Joyce. First off, the stress of working with somebody like Bob Joyce. I don't see any gray hair. I see the mullet coming back. Is it as stressful as I find it to be?
Yeah, it is. It's tough. It's weird trying to figure out how to please him. Sometimes he gets very angry at me if I don't say something right.
Welcome to the club.
If I say absolutely sometimes too many times, and then I'll get yelled at.
Yep.
But I'm working it. I'm trying not to get him too mad, so it's been all right.
In all seriousness, how are you enjoying this so far? You did one game on the sidelines when Wally Pipp, Kevin Nathan,
Yep.
had to miss it, and you turned in a Rookie of the Year performance. Are you having fun?
Yeah, it's great. It's easy. So I've been around the game for so long, and I've learned so much from my dad, and just being around it. So it's just talking football.
What do you like best, Casey, about what you've seen from this UConn team this season?
I like the improvement on the offense, and it showed where in the last 3 years, the UConn offense hasn't been able to put points on the board early in the game on first drives. The field goals, but Bobby's gotten better. And they've just been able to drive down the field early in the game and put points on the board, which we haven't really seen in a few years.
Let's talk a little bit about the wide receivers. Noel Thomas didn't get many touches, only 2 receptions against BYU, but he's really having a breakout year. As a quarterback, what do you like best about what he does as a receiver?
Well, he's explosive, and you can see it in his body type. So he's not a Jeremy Davis type guy who's really tall and lanky. He's more of a 6 foot, 6'2" type guy, but strong, and he can run through tackles, and he's got a good burst, and he runs really good routes. So where you'll see his strength is after the catch, breaking tackles, making moves, getting out of bounds when he needs to, but getting those first downs.
The other wide receiver to talk about is the freshman Tyreek Beals, who's really come on in the last 3 games.
Yeah, he's and Coach said it at the beginning of the year, and he said it very blandly, but he has good hands, and he can catch the ball, but he really does. He has big hands, and you can just see it. If you're ever at a game and his gloves are just these big white things, and he can go up and pull the ball down better than a lot of guys his age.
From having watched the BYU game on Friday night, what's the most important thing this team's got to do better this week to get their first road win of the season?
The O-line just got to protect Brian a little bit better, and he just needs to get the ball out of the pocket and maybe not take off like you've seen earlier in the season. He did a really good job last game of staying in and taking some shots while getting the ball out, but they just need to put some more points on the board, give the defense some breathing room, get 28 to 30 points, and that will be the biggest separation you'll see.
And your first win as a quarterback was on the road at Temple. What's the difference, the biggest difference, playing on the road, playing at home?
It's everything leading up to the game. So you can lose the game pre-game, whether it's in warm-ups, if you let the things you can't control get into your head, like fans, the different stadium, anything that you can't control. If you let that get into your mind, then it can affect you. But once the game starts and you realize you're just on another football field playing another team, then once you let go of that, then it's all gravy.
Great analysis by the former quarterback, Casey Cochran. Thanks, CC12.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so the Huskies hit the road this week to Orlando to play UCF in the ConFLiCT game. Radio coverage begins with Casey and the aforementioned Bob Joyce on the UConn IMG Network at 2 o'clock on Saturday. TV coverage on ESPNU at 3:45. For Casey, for Kent Adeyemi, for Bob Diaco and the best video crew on planet Earth, the UConn video crew, I'm Joe D'Ambrosio. We'll see you next time on The Blitz.